Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I'm live in San Francisco, California. I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am with my good friend down in LA, Jon Reed. What's up, Jon?
Happy Sunday. Not so happy for Vikings fans and Jacksonville fans, but very happy for New England Patriots fans and Philadelphia fans. So, happy for some people and happy for Star Trek Discovery fans who got I have very little criticism for this episode. It was just super fun all the way through. I'm a fan. Like even the reveals that we have Langley in the chat has called like so many of the reveals we got throughout the season, especially the couple that we got tonight. And it's even with knowing kind of that they were coming, it was still fun. Like I still enjoyed it. So what about you, Gary? Did you like this episode?
I did. This was my favorite episode of the series. It was also the shortest. You pointed out it was 37 minutes long. What's up with that? But maybe that's a good thing.
They trimmed the fat off of it, maybe.
That's weird that you got a pay service and you're making shorter episodes for commercials. That I don't think you should
but it's even shorter than if you had commercials. Like if this were to air on CBS, they'd have to add extra commercials in to pad it because a typical episode is 42 minutes long. So you've got like 5 minutes of commercials, 5 to 6 minutes of extra commercials that I don't know what, it's very strange. Like I'm baffled by it because there also wasn't like a big special effects heavy thing going on. Like the Stamets stuff, they did very practically, right? Like they did with the cameras and like kind of off kilter, and they added like the haziness over it, but it wasn't like he was in that weird Avatar forest for like a super long amount of time where they needed tons of effects or anything. So it's not like we had like a big battle, but I would say that what we did get that we don't usually get is that the set pieces were big. And especially like the throne room and like the Imperial ship, like all that was new content, right? Like we hadn't really seen that stuff in that scale before. And there were lots of like extras with really nice costumes on. So maybe the money went into more practical stuff. And because that's usually when I see a shorter episode, it's like, oh, it's because they had a big fight scene and that costs a lot more to do. So they trimmed a few minutes off the episode so that they could add more, stuff, but they didn't really have that in this. So I don't know. What do you think? Why do you think it was 37 minutes long? So weird.
They edited it down. They probably had a lot of unnecessary stuff, and they felt like, and maybe this was just a first edit. And sometimes that happens. You'll cut stuff down, usually not that much, but then you'll go, man, this moves a lot better like this, and we meant to add something in later, but this works, and it really did. And to what you were saying on the sets, this episode felt fuller. It felt,
Ryan Fuller
we're walking down. Exactly. No pun intended. And you're not just walking down corridors. The throne room scene was very cool. And this was very much the Game of Thrones episode. With all like so much happened in 37 minutes. I actually got for the first time like 3 pages of notes on this. But I do want to call out that we have a subscriber and a viewer and a friend, Mr. Langley Neely out there, who called all this stuff in the comments, by the way, like he, with the Lorca twist, which we will get to, but he does say, so I'm starting to think that every predictable twist will be with Discovery will be seen coming a mile away. I predicted the Lorca reveal in the middle of the season, and just like with Vok, you did. You did. And then I did not see the Lorca thing coming. I know a lot of people did, but you were on top of it. So props to you, sir.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the Lorca one in the chat, and I think maybe you could go back to that episode where we read his theory. And I remember saying no, that doesn't make sense, because if Defiant, the first time we hear of the universes crossing over was when Defiant came over, but it supposedly happened simultaneously or so. We don't know when. It seemed like this was the first crossover, and they kind of glitched out in it, but I was completely wrong on that. And it turns out Lorca is mirror universe Lorca, and this whole thing, all these Lorcastrations that we didn't understand, were all because he was trying to get back to the mirror universe to take over as emperor and bring the other Michael back with him. So all these things that we questioned, like, why would you take on this mutineer after she did this thing? And like, why would, like all these weird things that happened because Lorca was making weird moves. The payoff worked because although it was predicted by Langley, and I guess it was a projected, it was out. Like they foreshadowed it. It's still like, it makes you think back to the beginning and think of all the chess moves that were made and like in service of this plot twist. And I like stuff like that. Like, I'm a comic book fan because I like stuff like that. I'm a serialized TV viewer because I like stuff like that. So it was cool that we got the payoff, and I feel like it was done well. Like, my main issue with anything is in execution. Like, ideas are ideas, but if you don't execute good ideas, or if you execute bad ideas really well, it can change the whole like concept of it. And this was like, I think, a pretty decent idea concept, and it was executed so well in this episode. So I have to give a lot of props to kind of how this all shook out. It may be the reason why the early season wasn't to our taste, was because they were working around all these puzzle pieces and had a hard time with it. But once we got into the mirror universe, I think it all kind of shook out real well.
But yeah, everybody, if you've been watching this podcast, everybody knows the problems I have. It was actually before the show even started. It was just, some of the plot elements of, of course, with Michael being Spock's stepsister, and the Klingon look, which they could still fix. And story execution was kind of third on my list, and it's been getting better lately. And we kind of thought that it was a possibility that this show would get better as it goes on. But I knew the Lorca thing would be revealed because of the last week on Star Trek. I mean, they showed you everything. Yeah. They're like, oh, they brought up his eye thing with the brightness. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to that later, but we didn't want to bury the lead on that one.
Two things before we get going. First off, thanks for everyone who joins us for the live shows. It's really fun to have you guys in the chat, and we're able to answer questions and kind of feed off of you in real time during the podcast. If you want to, in addition to joining in that conversation, if you want to, while live, ask us specific questions, or even just donate, give us a tip, we have the super chat below the chat. You can just click on the little $sign and give us a little tip, ask a question. We'll be answering questions and addressing what's going on in the chat anyway, but it's just a little like, thanks for doing this, and we can it helps us kind of buy new equipment and pay our internet fees and that sort of stuff. In addition, if you want to help us out for the long haul for all the shows we do, because we cover more than just Star Trek, you can head over to Patreon at patreon.com/nerdrotic and become a patron over there. We have little incentives, different tiers, and we're going to have exclusive content just for patrons once we get enough patrons over there. So head on over there. You can pledge as little as $1 a month and as much as you want. So it's really just to help us keep the lights on over here. I just wanted to get that.
Get rid of my squeaky chair. That's the first thing I need to get rid of, is my squeaky chair.
I need a taller chair.
Jeez,
yes.
Christ. So it starts out kind of hits the ground running. We get Michael and Lorca are in leaving the Discovery. I forgot now. Leaving they have to go to the Imperial Palace ship or whatever it is.
Summoned.
Yeah, and that was kind of cool. So that must be unique to that universe. I don't know what that energy thing it was working on in the middle. It had like I don't know. It had like a little star or something going on. I don't know if that was a weapon system or if that's the engine system. I want to know. I like the ship a lot.
Yes.
So Michael gets to see Philippa Georgiou. Georgiou, is that how you pronounce it?
Georgiou. Yeah.
Georgiou. Yeah, there you go. Michelle Yeoh. And we get to know pretty quick, how the hell is she going to get out of this one? Now, the one thing with this show is I'm still waiting to feel like there's some real stakes, and it felt like we're getting closer to that. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the point feel like Michael's actually in any danger at all, but I was wondering, I'm like, how the hell are they going to get out of this one? And when she confronted the Emperor confronted Michael, she mentions, that with the Lorca betrayal, it comes out that was her adopted daughter. So I was like, okay, so that could explain why she just didn't kill her right away.
Yes.
And she offers her a slave, and she picks Saru's double again. I guess he was up again. I don't know if it was a different one or he just went back into the pool, and got picked again. Is that how?
Yeah, they must have like just taken her attendants off of her ship and brought them on and said, "Hey, pick one," which is weird because you would anyway. But yeah, Sarah's there again, and I guess she thinks the best way to protect him is by having him as her slave, which is theoretically smart. Although I would be worried about associating anyone with me if I were in Michael's place. Like if I'm really trying to be protective, I would want to not connect myself to anybody in any sort of positive way, because that's just leverage, right? So I don't know. What do you think of that? Anyway, we don't have to parse that decision. It was weird to me though. I thought that maybe she would like see Saru there and like leave him be and protect him by choosing another one.
Yep. And it was also set up for a later scene that we'll get to. That was
yes.
Actually, and again, this show is just going dark, and that's what it is. And I think part of the reason I like this episode is I'm just at acceptance. I'm not going to sit there and bitch about stuff I don't like anymore, and I'm actually getting genuine enjoyment out of it now. Yep. So there it is. There. So they're gonna send Lorca back to the agonizer. I don't know how I feel about that name. I guess it's appropriate. Very on the nose.
Another day, another agonizer for Lorca.
But she gives them some an analgesic for it or something. And yeah, like for what? Okay, cool, whatever.
Did you understand I missed something. The subplot of him being in the agonizer with the dude who was like basically not torturing him, like keeping the agonizer off to ask him questions. Like, and he's saying like, say her name. Did it ever say what he did to that guy's sister?
No, it did. Well, I guess he just loved her and left her for somebody else.
Just ditched her. He didn't torture her or kill her. He just like one night stand, I'm out kind of thing.
Yeah, because I thought they were insinuating at first that Michael had a brother in this universe.
That's what I was thinking, but it wasn't. Her name was Ava.
So
yeah, I'm really confused because I felt like I had missed something where we understood why this guy was like torturing, like taking him out of torture to ask him questions as if that was torture. And I don't know. I was just very confused about the motivations of that dude.
I was too. I think it was just kind of like a bait and switch a little bit, just to make you think, oh my God, what? But they did end up getting romantically involved. So yeah, I was a little confused about that too. Maybe he's a character they're setting up. Maybe he didn't die when Lorca strangled him and then shocked him. He looked pretty dead, but maybe he's somebody that they're introducing.
We'll have to see.
Yeah. We'll have to see, or maybe he pops up in the other universe.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
at the end of this, I'll get to my theory on like what the show's going to be from here on out.
Yeah,
because there's a big question about that, and I'm sure everybody else has lots of theories there too. So, so he gets set off to the agonizer, and then we get to finally to Stamets, and what's going on in his head, and he meets alternate Stamets. And he's been, I guess, the other Stamets has been trapped there as well.
Yeah,
he had some kind of accident, and they need to get out. So he needs the other one to get out, and he's actually been trying to contact him. So it's been twofold now. It was Lorca trying to lead the discovery into this other universe, and then it was also the other Stamets who was trying to talk to him to get him there too. Maybe, I don't know.
He confirmed that he, maybe not talking to him, but he was seeing through his eyes. Like when he was seeing the other ship, and he was seeing Captain Killy, and he thought he was going crazy, and it turns out he was connected to Miramitz, and Miramitz was doing his stuff, and Prime Mitz was going crazy because of it, right? Like that's what we got in this. Like that was an interesting reveal, because like they keep kind of going to this spore network and how it ties things together. And that's like, the MacGuffin of this whole thing, right? Like the whole plot is going to revolve around how they access this network and how they can get home from it or whatever, right? And
Does
so
it
like we're seeing it really
surround us? Does it
right,
penetrate us?
like the Force.
Yeah, like a TARDIS force. I don't know.
TARDIS.
TARDIS force. I have no idea what they're injecting so many things in this show. So it could be a hot mess of fun. You know, why not? Yeah. So they run around some corridors a little bit, and then we see a ghost of Hugh, which was kind of cool. I kind of thought that was cool, and he's following Hugh around. Now this is where I'm confused. People in the chat can help me. What was Hugh in there? Are we like in the Nexus? I was thinking Nexus from Star Trek Generations,
Yes.
where if you go there, like nobody dies. I don't know which it could be. You never know. Yeah, I don't know what he was. Was he just in Stamets Prime head, or was he really there? Because it seemed like he was. Was he a ghost? And they, have a little talk, a little relationship talk. And Stamets just wants to stay there, and he is starting to remembering back to seeing Hugh die and feeling bad about it. And he's having kind of an existential crisis within his coma. So I thought that was a pretty interesting scene, because I've been wanting to get into like what's going on in his head. As far as ridiculous as the spore drive is, I'm kind of buying into it now. It's like, okay, it's a thing, whatever. Just don't talk about the science of it. We're fine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where like the theoretical science, I'm always wrong on my predictions about what's going on there, because like it's like in my opinion it's less theoretical and more like magic. So it's like hard to apply logic to it. But I feel like the biggest weakness of the show, and it just crept through in that moment for me, is like I liked the content of what was going on, but the show has a hard time when the characters are dealing with their feelings. Like it works as like a science show and as a sci-fi show now, and like I love the machinations and the Game of Thrones-ness of it all right now, but the show does suffer a little bit when it gets to the point where like Stamets is trying to stay like in that place because he doesn't want to go back, because he doesn't want to leave his partner, his husband, who he just died, and he's going to go back to a world doesn't have that, and so he wants to stay there. And like I want to feel that, right? And like I didn't really like get into that too much. I just feel like it lacked the emotional punch, and it was much more about like what was going on outside of that moment. And so I like what happened, and I think all the right moves were made there, but I don't know, it lacked the punch that I was expecting.
It lacked it because of the acting. I think you mentioned that last podcast. The guy playing Hugh is not the best actor in the world. It also lacked it because of music. I'll use Generations again. Bad movie with good stuff in it. Okay, I love and hate that movie, Star Trek Generations, but it's got seriously one of the best Star Trek soundtracks ever. And the scenes they're in the Nexus is some of the best music, and it just sets the tone, like a dreamy, sad, tone that like you don't want to leave. Like a Picard on. I got him. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Picard, like on Christmas, and just the music in the background, like really sets it. I think it missed it on that. And
yeah. So Matt says maybe the effect of Tilly's help is what causes Stamets to see Hugh. And that's an interesting theory. I like that. I want to go back and watch that and see like the direct effect of that first scene where we get Tilly, and like what her idea is to help him, and how that might apply to that. It's interesting.
It does. And by the way, we will get to your comments after we finish our recap. Just a little disclaimer there. We're not ignoring you. I am trying to peruse it, but I'm using my phone now, and I'm realizing I'm very blind, and I cannot see that small.
I'll try to sprinkle them in when they apply to what we're talking about, and then we'll go back when we
magnifying
glass.
Getting old, man. So Okay, and then we've got another subplot. We have Ash, Saru, and oh my God, what's the Klingon girl's name again?
I always forget her name too.
Oh my God, it's Larell, something like that.
Sure.
Sure. And yeah, help me out in the chat, please. So we got the the subplot with them, and again, this is getting more interesting. All this is getting more interesting, and we're finding out with Ash. It's basically he's Vok with the Ash skin suit on, essentially.
Yeah, so
but he's got his Ash's consciousness is still there. So they melded them basically, right? So there's still some of it's not Ash isn't totally dead, and Vok isn't totally alive. That's kind of what I.
Yes. So first of all, it is Larell. Thank you, Langley, and Avanade. So I love that you called this, because I thought when you mentioned that you thought that they had taken two beings and fused them together, I was like, whoa, that is not how I saw it. Like, I saw them like taking a brick of stone that is Vok and like chipping away at it and creating Ash, right? And so when you described your theory, I was like, no, and then like as I was about to tell you that that's not what it is, I realized like, no, you could totally be right. Like, they haven't disproven either of them really at that point. And I love that we got confirmation now with that doctor being like, so we've got, Ash Tyler's Starfleet records, and this is him, but there's the Klingon in there too, and like we finally got that confirmation that there is an Ash and there is a Vok, and they're both in one person. And so that to me tells me that we can flip the switch back and have Ash back. Like, it's not this simple, like he's a sleeper agent, now he's a Klingon thing. I think that we're going to get to a point where Vok is gone eventually down the road, or like a background voice, and like the character is Ash. Is that where you think it's going?
Yeah, I think we're gonna eventually get, and I'll get to this theory at the end, but the Klingons Vok Tyler as I'm sorry, I can't see that name. Vok Tyler. Somebody in the chat, I'm sorry, I can't see your name. I don't have my reading glasses on.
Avanade.
Thank you.
Avanade.
That I think they're going to be working. Vok Tyler and Larell are going to be working with the crew at some point. They're going to have to all work together at some point. I think that's where they're moving with this. It's going to be kind of a Lost in Space kind of thing there. I think that's,
I love
a lot of people
idea.
have come to that, but I think that's where I think we're going with this.
I think that's a great idea. And it makes like, if this whole season is exposition to get there, I think that the show will be in a very good place. Because that's like Star Trek Discovery. That's what the name evokes, kind of, like they're out there discovering things. So I really hope that theory is correct. I think that would be really fun to see.
Me too. So yeah, the whole exchange with Saru and Larell, that one was a little rushed. That could have actually used a few more minutes of, her. I liked her little speech, like, this is war, like this is what we do, and it's kind of a surprise to me that the Klingons didn't kick the Federation's ass at this point. They just seem stronger. It's probably because they were so divided in this show that kept them from doing it. Although they all seem pretty united in hating the Federation. So I don't know. Or maybe they just didn't know enough about each other.
Right.
But her little speech on war was great. And Saru was like, all right. And he's trying to like get through to her because he knows that she likes, I guess she has a thing for Vok and Ash. That's kind of what I'm getting, that she likes them both, that maybe in a very different way. But maybe this is just a kink of hers. Like, she's like, I like both these dudes. Let's mush them together and make one.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow, I didn't even man, that went way over my head, but you're right. Like, because she was like, when he was captured, she was sleeping with Ash, and we know she wanted Vok to rise to power. So yeah, you're right. This is an interesting threat.
Maybe she's just like torturing him. That was probably it. And I think those flashback scenes we keep seeing with it's either her actually having sex with, which they keep throwing in all the time, and she's screaming like a cat. It's like, I guess Klingon sex is like cat sex. And I would kept on waiting for them to flip that to her just having sex with Vok, but I think she's just having sex with Ash. So yeah, there's something very subverse about that whole thing, but this is subverse Trek. If it's anything, it's subverse Trek. So yeah.
Actually, to that point, one of in the chat, John Man McFly said Lorca being from the Mirror Universe explains why the Discovery crew and the overall feel of the show is more dark. He would recruit all the dark, hardest people, and yeah, it's you're right. That is why this is subverse Trek. It's because he's assembled a faux mirror team in the Prime universe, essentially. And like that, you're right. Like, I think that, what do you think about that? Because we didn't love the first few episodes of the show. I would say the first 5, we were like up and down through the first 8. And we really didn't like the first like 4. So the fact that some of the things we didn't like about that were the puzzle pieces that they were dropping to this eventual reveal. Do you think that that is overall a net gain because it's put the show in such a cool place now, or a net minus because some of those decisions made it difficult to narratively tell the beginning of this story effectively because there was these mysteries that we didn't know, and so the characters were coming off as like erratic?
It's all how they nail the ending, John, because especially with a lot of videos that come out after ours, we're a visceral review. We come on like right after we watch it, and we don't have time to like dissect the hell out of it. In about a week or so, we're going to get Doomcock doing a video and all these other people doing a video. And I think when you really think about this stuff, there's going to be tons of holes in it. Like the first thing I would think of is, okay, if this is Mirror Lorca, how does he just fly in and know all the Federation unless he got access to the Defiant intelligence, and how much were they able to access? That would probably explain it. But still, how do you like put yourself off as a captain of a ship in a different world with different mannerisms? And yeah, there's going to be little differences, but unless it is the 23rd century, he could have downloaded some stuff in his brain. I have no idea.
Well, we don't know when he got there, and essentially, we don't know when he got there. We could be seeing like he's been in the Prime universe for like 20 years, and he killed his own. The Mirror Universe Lorca killed Prime Universe Lorca like a long time ago and took his spot in the Federation. Like, we don't know how this all went down.
I'm assuming he got there through Stamets, maybe, or he went through the oh god, what was it called again? The quantum variants or whatever. And by the way, it was very handy that the Emperor had the quantum variance machine right there.
Yeah, right there.
He just walks around with one, I need to check the quantum variance of my hair product. Here we go.
But strangely, she doesn't use the machine when scanning ships or people before they arrive on her own. Yeah, it's only a reactive thing.
She is aware of an alternate universe, yes. More aware than the Federation is, or maybe the Federation is aware. We don't know. The Defiant is going to play big into this, and I'm looking forward to that. I have no idea what they're going to do with that, but it'll be fun. I just wanted to bring that one up a little bit. I was like, oh, it's handy. They have that there. That's good.
I loved her weapon that she used. The Yondu saw blade was really cool. I thought that was a cool, I don't know. I thought that was really neat. The one question I had in my notes that I really wanted to ask you, Gary, if you were in the same situation as Michael, would you eat the ganglia? Or would you try to get out of it?
I'd eat it.
You'd eat it?
Yeah, it might be good.
Maybe, but like you're eating,
Yeah, that was dark, man.
That was really
like, god dang. But I remembered back. I'm like, oh wait, the Klingons ate Captain Georgiou. So what the hell? They just ate Saru's brother or cousin or something like that. Poor guy. Maybe it's really good.
Fickle just asked, Burnham says the quantum variants can't be changed, but didn't they change the discoveries when they came into the Mirror Universe? I don't think they changed it. I think that they recognized that it was different. Did they like mask it in some way? Like, I don't think so.
They masked like the lights, and I think they changed the I don't know how they painted the outside, but they changed the
Yeah, they changed the outside.
I honestly cannot remember if they
We'll have to
changed
go
that
back
or
and
not.
check that
Yeah,
out. Thanks for bringing that up, Fickle, because
that's a good
I,
point.
I want to see
We
if
will.
that's something that happened or not.
Yeah. So yeah, that dinner scene was good. And then, we find out that she's onto her all along, and that Lorca was working with Michael to overthrow the Emperor. So that led me to believe, like, oh, maybe he's good, or no, he's just another bad guy who wants power.
Yes.
And that's just kind of how they do things there. And he failed and he's screwed.
Vaulting Ambition, the name of the episode.
Vaulting Ambition.
So I had an issue with this. Here's my problem. Like, I love everything in this episode. Don't get me wrong. So I'm just pointing out stupid shit. But why would she let them back on? So the only reason to have the cover story of Michael being a good guy, tracking the traitor Lorca, and then both dying. But the Emperor knowing that really Michael and Lorca were working together, the only reason to put that cover story together is because they're both dead or gone, and you want to protect the legacy of Michael because she's your adopted daughter, but you want to make sure that if anyone finds Lorca, they like kill him on sight, right? Or bring him to you. So like the cover story itself doesn't make sense if you're then going to bring them back, or like they would know that Michael was dead from the beginning or gone, right? So like to me just didn't make any sense that like they would then be bringing Michael back and going through this whole charade after they specifically had that cover story to shade the fact that she, disappeared with Lorca. I don't know.
It was just theater to bring her in to find out what she knows. So I think she was on to her the whole time. And I think it's not gonna be too long. I was kind of thinking it would be this episode that we find out that the other Michael's still alive and somewhere. So the other Michael and Lorca are still alive somewhere. Well, then no,
why would
the other
you
Lorca,
make
the other Michael.
Story?
Yeah, the other Michael is around. For the cover story for Michael.
Yeah, because if she's still alive, then why would you tell everyone that she's this great hero who died tracking Lorca, chasing Lorca, like chasing this traitor down? Like the story is, right, that Michael and Lorca disappeared and were presumed dead.
Yep.
Michael was tracking Lorca, was hunting down Lorca because Lorca had betrayed the Empire.
Yep.
But the Emperor knows that really Michael and Lorca were working together to have this coup. We don't know what happened after that point. They ran away together or whatever. But why would the Emperor not also put a target on Michael's back if she didn't already know she was dead or captured? Because she would want somebody to then capture Michael and bring her back to her like she would for Lorca. So the cover story to me doesn't make any sense unless you know precisely where Michael is. I
can only assume that she was hoping she was alive and maybe not part of it. But since our Michael brought Lorca back, remember that the Emperor thinks Lorca is the other Lorca, not her Lorca. Correct. So yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But again, if you don't think about this show too much, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
Jody said, yeah, that's the other thing about that reveal that made no sense to me. It's just a stupid thing, but like the cover story to me, it doesn't make any sense.
It was in the script to get everybody in the throne room to do what you
exactly.
But
it was, I like how it all played out. So it's a nitpicky thing. And it's just a question I had, as I was watching. I was like, that was a stupid cover story.
It was a little overcomplicated, but I don't know. Maybe we missed something. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. Again, I try not to think about it too much. So yeah, she's going to get executed now because she's on to her, and she just wanted to, I guess, confront her and say, like, I'm on to you. And that's what I was waiting for, like, other Michael to walk out from behind going, see, and then, but that would undo what she said. Like, she had to play her last card before her execution. She's like, oh yeah, I'm not from your universe. And she just buys it, after, of course, the little quantum thing. And they bought that pretty quick based on a badge, but I thought they resolved that pretty well. See, I think early on in the season, this is the kind of stuff I was getting used to them not explaining crap like this. And they did a good job of, I know about the Defiant, and this is what we're going to do. And then she's working a deal. But she tells her about the spore drive, and I went, no, why are you telling him about the spore drive? But I guess that's all she had left to bargain with.
Yeah.
To keep them alive, and we have that whole thing going. So she contacts Saru, and
I love Saru's reaction.
yeah,
I would really prefer if this order came from Lorca, Michael. No offense, but you know, you don't have the best track record for making decisions, you know, that a captain maybe should be the one making. So any way you could get him on the line, you know, is Lorca there? Maybe I can talk. I'll hold. It's cool. But no, I guess they're en route to a meeting between the Emperor and the Discovery, right?
Yep. And I guess we could jump to that Lorca scene. That was again, I don't know why they played it out like this. I guess it was just to make you think it was Michael Burnham's brother. Maybe they wanted to do that at first and last minute changed their mind. I don't know. Yeah. So another guy.
Maybe that's why the episode's only 37 minutes, is that she was supposed to be this guy's brother and they decided like, oh no, let's just edit that whole thing out and change it.
I think it was just simply done to make Lorca escape, to give him an escape. So yeah, some guy comes in and starts accusing Lorca of screwing over his sister. And he's going to torture him, and he uses one of his crewmates to affect him. And like, if it's Mirror Lorca, does he give a crap about like his crew? Does he really care if like one of them gets murdered? I mean,
it doesn't seem like he should.
Why would you be all, yep, you're going to die for me, buddy?
Well, we don't know what Lorca, like we're assuming that Georgiou has the right read on Lorca and that he's just another kind of usurper, right? Like he wants the throne for himself. So, you know, but we don't know. Like maybe Lorca does want to reform things. Like he had some idealistic streaks when he's in the Prime universe, and like that could be all manipulation, but it might not be. Like we don't really know what Lorca would be like as a leader in the Mirror universe. We know what he's like as a leader to get to the Mirror universe with a group of dedicated people backing him up, but we don't know what he's going to be like if he got the emperorship. So maybe like he does, and you know, maybe he does care, and we don't know. We don't know, I guess is the ultimate, but he doesn't seem to in this moment.
Yeah, like he well, yeah. You still don't know. He killed that guy pretty quick. And again, I'm assuming he's dead. But again, pretty good reveal. We saw it a mile away. We knew it was coming. Some of us a long time ago, some of us right when in the pre-credits, but it was pretty cool. So back to Ash Tyler, or Ash Vok Tyler. He's getting worse. So Saru just kind of manipulates Larell, beams him into her prison cell, and calls her bluff. Basically, she's like, I don't care, let him die. And then he beams him in there, and she's like, oh, you know, and yeah. And then she's like, he can only be healed by my hand, except, you know, through 3 inches of rubber. And so they I did like the scene where she's in the sick bay, and they got all the phasers on her, and she's got her little surgery whatcha-who's-its or whatever, and just fix them like that. She like just like 2 little brain lasers go right back at fixing like he's good. Yeah. So what I didn't understand is like he's back to Ash Tyler now, right? Because he started out speaking Klingon, doing the Klingon prayer, and then he finished it in English, and then she went no, a la Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and which was not the best moment in the show. I just started laughing when she did it. I was like, no.
Like all of these scripts need to, if they have NOOOOOOO written in the script, they need to just like have a big rework over that page and send it back to the writer. Like, nope. Sorry, figure it out.
Only missing like the overhead shot, you know.
It goes out a window of the ship, and then it goes out like to like a planet, and then zooms back in. Yeah,
you hear the echo everywhere, you know. Yeah. So I guess he's back to Ash, kind of. I think it's going to be different though. For now, and also with the Stamets thing, we've got the. I guess wherever they are is going bad, and it looks like these red tentacle, like it looks like it's infected, whatever, their reality is infected with something. And Hugh and Stamets like brush their teeth and do their little goodnight routine, and then Hugh tells them you've got to go, you got to go save us all. And this, like, the last couple episodes, like, a lot of things have happened, like usually you would spread this stuff out, but and I'm enjoying this. He ends up in other Stamets's body and wakes up, which was cool. And I don't know why I didn't think they were going to do that, but that's actually a really good twist.
Yes.
And then so Prime Stamets is now over there, and Alterna Stamets is on the Discovery.
So the first time we get a glimpse of the mirror universe in Discovery is when he was brushing his teeth, remember? And then the mirror stayed when he walked away.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this is him seeing that moment where his essence is transferred into mirror universe's Stamets's body. I need to go back and rewatch it and see if the scene between the two doctors plays out in the same way, and so that's what we're seeing or not. But I think that it's definitely supposed to be referencing that, and I think it's pretty cool that they were able to mirror that moment in this way. Yeah,
I saw what you did there. I did. Yeah, I think that's a good sign that we want to, like, at least one of us wants to go back and rewatch the show and catch a couple things, and I will too. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I thought that I did not see coming a mile away. So good on you guys.
David Foreman says, I'm pretty sure she didn't say no. She said,
okay.
So,
same thing.
Close enough. But good catch.
Good catch there. Yeah. I got the same impression. No, it was the exact same feeling I felt when Darth Vader did it. I would cringe. So, but the point is made. She lost her love, and then she had a little flashback too of all her wonderful Vok moments because he was so handsome. And
exactly.
Vox none.
Who was it said it's the Klingon death cry? That's great. David Foreman, yes, death cry. So I guess
I'm sure there's a specific way you do it. Sorry. There's like a specific way you have to do the Klingon death cry, and if you don't do it right, you'll get, I don't know, killed.
Jody says, didn't you guys predict that mirror Stamets would wind up in Prime Stamets's body? Yeah, Gary said that in one podcast, and I said that would be awesome. I don't know how they would get there, but that would be cool. And I guess, yeah, you did. And this is the reverse of that. But maybe is mirror universe in Prime's body? Maybe is that a thing too? Did they switch?
Yeah,
is it
they switched?
Okay.
It's Friday on Star Trek. So
Freaky Friday, Freaky Sunday, guys.
Body or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I did a lot of partying in the 80s, so I forget a lot of stuff.
You had a Freaky Friday yourself? That's awesome.
I had a freaky 80s. I did.
Apple Crow says, wait, so they killed off Vok? Then what was the GD point of that whole plot?
Right? Okay, so that's the third Klingon bad guy they've killed in the series. In one series, they've like, okay, now here's the big bad. No, he's dead. So they're like, Game of Thrones, we got you. We're going to kill 3 bad guys in the first season, not just Khal Drogo. There you go.
Only that I would rather have Khal Drogo than any of these Klingons on my screen. So I cared a lot more when he went away. I wish that we had a Klingon that it's a personal taste thing, but like I didn't really connect to the Klingons in this show. And I feel like you need a connection to your bad guy. You need a connection to your, like, even your these kind of gray area Klingons we have, I just wish that I connected a little bit more to what was happening outside of the Discovery. And I think that was why I was having a lot of problems, because in the mirror universe, I really connect to like Emperor Georgiou and her regime. Like it's all very interesting. So I feel like that's a weakness that the show's going to have to fix. They need to get the Klingons under control.
I want them to stay in the mirror universe for a little while. I'm not like eager for them to get out. I think it's been the best part of the show. I want to know way more about this empire. I love that ship. I love everything about it. Like this could be fun if they, if they're on the run in the mirror universe, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it's Voyager, but what the hell? Who cares?
So a lot of Voyager there's a lot of people in chat saying that they didn't swap. So Interesting. I think you and I read it similarly. I'll have to go back and see.
Yeah. Okay. The only reason I thought they swapped was when they cut from Stamets in the
Primates to Miramids.
Yeah, they cut from him wherever he was in the Spore network, and they cut to the Prime one. So that might have been just a confusing cut. You could be right. I was assuming he switched into that body just because of that cut, but it might have been they just cut to them, and it could be that simple. I don't know.
Interesting.
I have no idea.
Because I read he said something like, "Oh, you did it! You got us out of there." And at first, I thought it was
He gets up and he goes, "You did it! You got us out of there." But it could be the other Stamets just saying that.
Yeah, Miramids saying that about Prime Mitts. I thought it was Prime Mitts saying that about Hugh. Anyway, so
if they didn't switch, I think they should have. That would have been better.
Yeah, they lost. That was a huge miss if that's the case.
Oh, nah. It was a confusing cut then, like totally confusing. So
Stress-Free K said, "Yeah, no swapping." Stamets immediately knows Tilly and picks up from there. Okay, we'll have to go back and watch.
Yeah. No, he did know her, but I was just thinking that maybe he was in on it. But you're right. He immediately knows and goes in and sees that the network is dying. Yeah. So, oh well, no big on that one. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been better.
That would have been better. Yeah. I guess we misread that. Wishful thinking, I guess, is what happened for both of us there.
But we both misread it. That's weird. Okay. That's all right. There we go. We both had good times. Yeah. So, with the whole Lorca thing, I'm wondering where they go from here. Okay. So, and it ends with him. We ends with him looking at the effed up Spore network, and that's where the episode ends. And we'll get to the chat here in a second if there's anything we got to catch up on.
Yeah, while we're finishing up with some theories, if you guys want to just one more time, if you guys want to help us out a little bit, you can use the super chat and we'll answer those questions right away. Otherwise, we'll try to scrub through and go through other comments and questions that we've gotten in the chat. The super chat's a little $sign below the live chat. I see there's 83 people watching us right now, which is amazing. I think that's the most we've had for Star Trek. So thank you everyone for joining us. And I'll scroll through and try to grab some of these questions and stuff. So where do you think this is going? Is Isaacs confirmed for season 2? Is that, because I know you texted me a little bit about if Lorca, what his fate might be. That's what Apple Crow's asking. Is he confirmed for season 2?
That I don't know, but I don't know where they go with him. The only way they could go is if they've got this rad tag suicide squad on the Discovery, and they're put in a position where they can't get home. Like they're popping into different universes, not just the mirror universe. They're it's like Voyager. They just can't get home. And that would explain a lot of stuff, like how we never knew about the Discovery and Michael Burnham. And they just get lost. But in the meantime, and I could even think how the show ends. Like it's kind of a Lost in Space scenario, and then you end it with them. The only thing they can do is get a message back to their universe, to Starfleet, and they pull an Indiana Jones. Like they get the message, and they're like, "Oh, they got the ship that's lost in another dimension. We got all this information." They lock it up and never talk about the warehouse at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That would explain a lot. In current canon, you could still have a lot of fun with the show, and that way it would still count. I don't know how they're going to fix the damn Klingons, and maybe somebody in the chat can tell me, because I haven't really bothered to look. But has anybody explained why they changed the Klingons? Why they made this move? I don't know if it's aesthetic reasons or there's actually a plot reason why they did it, which it could be. I mean, they have changed their looks through eugenics before, so it might have been just that. I don't know. That's always been the lingering problem I've had. But where they're going is, I think, kind of a Lost in Space.
Do you think that Lorca is going to do you think that there will be a Star Trek Discovery in the near future without a Lorca in it?
No, I think he'll be, I don't know if he'll be captain again, but he'll be on the ship. I think he'll be there.
Yeah, I hope so. Major issues with him.
Or maybe he proves himself. Maybe if he's good, and then he's got to prove himself, and then they make him captain. We want you to be captain again. That would be interesting, or they just make Michael Burnham captain.
Yeah.
They could definitely do that.
Seems like they're well. I would rather see like Saru as captain with Michael as his like, and then like as her redemption, he chooses her as number one, even though he witnessed her betrayal early on in the series. And like, but look, the show has to have Lorca. Either he's going to be like a cute type bad guy in the background, popping in and out of the mirror universe, or he's going to be a redeemable character that's going to be the captain of Discovery, and they'll like him even though he is mirror, and he's, you know, we'll figure out some redeeming quality about him, or Michael becomes captain. I don't know, but I feel like there has to be a Lorca there.
I can't imagine the show without him. I can't.
Yeah.
Like he's been, I guess the most interesting character. I don't want to say my favorite. Yeah, my favorite character. Yes, he's the one I like. I don't know if I care. I just interested in what he does. Michael's getting better. She's getting much better. The writing, I don't know if it's from the break. I have no idea, but like I liked her in this episode. She's getting fleshed out for me. They're making her very Kirk, which is fine. Just do it the right way, and this is kind of the right way. So not perfect yet. Don't get me wrong, but got a ways to go. This isn't like a great show, but we're seeing that potential now. We were talking about earlier that like they could course correct. This is a first season. You know, it is Star Trek. There's going to be a certain percentage of people who are just going to hate it no matter what. There's people who are going to get on board. And there's people who just aren't going to care, you know, which is the worst. Actually, people not caring. So but Lorca being gone would be devastating to the show. I don't know if I could keep watching it.
Ruben Loza says Michael ate some Saru, just saying. And I was going to say, what happens when Saru finds out that Michael ate his ganglia?
That's going to be an awkward moment.
Yeah, not a great moment there.
Needed some hot sauce with that, you know.
Oh, Ghost World says she didn't eat Saru. She ate Kelpie, and that wasn't Saru.
It wasn't Saru. Yeah, it was a Kelpian.
Oh, I thought I
just said Saru for
like a joke. This show does confuse me sometimes. I thought that Georgiou was telling
the
her
one that she picked.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about that.
I thought she was like, pick one. I don't know what makes Kelpian good.
See,
and she picked
Saru. Moment, everybody. Sorry, she picked Saru to eat. That's right. Oh,
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. I just thought Kelpian. I said Saru because I couldn't remember the Kelpian word. I'm just like Saru, that alien. You know. It's terrible.
Langley says after his episode of this show, I'm scared of Myers doing anything. He did episode 3, I believe, which was terrible. Show should have been an anthology series from the start. What do you think about the fact that it isn't an anthology? Do you think that it's better for it now that we've gone this direction, or do you still think maybe like next season the fact that they had this
reference to Nicholas Meyer? I saw a quote in there that they can't wait for the Nicholas Meyer. I don't know. I like Nicholas
anthology series.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to do a Khan series. That's supposed to be the next thing they're doing. Like young Khan. I don't know if that's still happening or not, but that was the big rumor that came out about it a year ago, maybe. I think it's still going on. Yeah, this was supposed to be an anthology series.
Yes,
that's why Brian Fuller, like, eventually he's had amazing stories. I mean, he'll eventually rage quit that, but that's what he wanted to do. And that would have been great. And even if you did it like every season be different, kind of like True Detective, except better executed.
Yes.
That would be interesting. I don't know. But yeah, we're definitely getting this. So I don't know.
David Foreman says maybe they taste like kelp, and that's where the name comes from.
There you go.
That's good. That's a good one. Jody wonders if the Deus Ex Machina they will use to fix the contamination is the tardigrade. Do you think that's what it's there for?
Yeah, I think you just called it right there. I'm not going to argue with that. Yeah, we need to find the tardigrade. They will use a Deus Ex Machina, though. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Stress Free K says, I always felt the Klingons were too one-dimensional except for Worf. Yeah, I feel like those are my Klingons. You know, like everyone has their like version of whatever character, like the iconic, you know, Joker voice for me is always Mark Hamill. You know, my iconic Joker is the Batman animated series Joker, or, you know, everyone has their iconic version of whatever character there is. When I think of a Klingon, I think of Worf. Do you have one?
Oh, it's Worf. It's Worf.
Yeah, it's Worf.
I was just thinking back to the Klingons from the original series, and I'm just wondering why they became the main villain, because they weren't in every. They were repetitive, and they were mentioned not all the time in the original series. That you could have gone a different way. I just remember they made a Migo Klingon, and the fandom like really gathered around them. That's why they and then they threw them in Star Trek the Motion Picture, and that was the first time they changed, because remember the first Klingons were kind of like Russians. You know, that's what they were based on. They were based on, you know, Russians back in the Cold War, and they weren't all warrior like. They were more like sly, you know.
Yep.
And it was after the motion picture they turned them into kind of a barbarian warrior race. As far as you know, the they're being two-dimensional. I don't know. I've seen them more than that. But that was because Next Generation really fleshed them out, and because of Worf, you know.
And Deep Space Nine, from the chat, a lot of people are saying that Deep Space Nine Klingon, Langley specifically, is for the Deep Space Nine Klingons.
Hell yeah, DS9's great.
Mark Purdue asks, "What's up with the Admiral? She's still around, right?" So yeah, she's still in the Prime universe. She's still alive. I'm wondering though where she fits into this story now, right? The Admiral that Lorca basically turned over to the Klingons by letting her go to that ambush.
Is she still alive?
Yeah, she's still alive. I believe so. Let us know in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think she's still. She's just like maybe presumed dead, but like we haven't seen a body yet. I think we're still okay.
What she got pulled? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. She got Larell threw her up against the wall. They were talking about escaping, and then she got thrown up pretty hard, and she got pulled into that body, the room of the dead with all the dead Klingons. I'm trying to remember what happened to her after that. She could still be alive. Yeah, she is alive, but back in the Prime universe, and is she still on the Klingon ship?
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Klingon bastard, you killed my son. You Klingon bastard. That's right.
But still living the Prime. She would have been it would have been cool to see her mirror version though. They sent her back to Earth.
We still can.
She was returned to Starbase.
Like I said, I hope they hang out there the rest of the season and they work it out, and then
serious.
Maybe, yeah. They definitely. I think we only got a few more episodes, so they're going to hang there the rest of this season. And when the season ends, it'll turn out that this whole season was just like a big origin story for whatever is to come.
Yep.
And you know, you could still tell that these are fuller episodes, just the way they're written, like outlines. He had most of it, if not all of it, written, and they just came in and redid them. So, you know, I wonder who takes over the show. I know Kurtzman, I guess he's going to stick with it, but he's a JJ guy.
Yeah.
He's a JJ.
We'll see.
I don't know.
David Foreman asks, where is the regular universe Lorca? My guess is he's being held captive by this one. I presume he's either been killed by Mirror Lorca or he's being...
or he went down with the ship. Originally.
So hold on, before we go any further, we have 99 people watching in the live chat. That's the most people we've ever had. So we're one away from 100. I don't know if we'll hit them, but I just want to thank everyone that's in the live chat. This is really, really great, guys. I don't know. It's incredible that there are so many people hanging out with us after Star Trek and talking about all these crazy theories. It's very fun. So thanks, everybody. I
think we're supposed to assume that he died with his ship, but he probably didn't. They're going to probably bring him in at some point. Who knows if they go back, which I'm hoping they don't. I don't know if I made that clear enough, but I like this. This is good. Keep going with this. I'm happy with this.
We're on the right track. This is so great.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this show every week. Like I can't like going back to episode 3 and thinking about how excited I am about Star Trek now. It's like crazy. It's so crazy. But like this episode, some people have thought that it's a step back from the last that the episode previous was a little bit better. But for me, like this was like 37 tight minutes of good sci-fi TV, right? Like this is what I want from Star Trek, and I'm just very, very happy. So again, we got 105 watching now. This is amazing.
Right on. Gilgamesh says they will bring the Defiant back to fix all the ship designs in the Prime universe. Right?
I hope so.
Yep.
Yeah, what do you think of how the ships look? I'm getting the same thing you are, where it's feeling very video game design to me. It doesn't feel like, The Expanse and Battlestar Galactica for its time did such a great job. It's so weird to see this style that they're employing for kind of the spaceship space look. And they're not using it a lot. Like, we're not going out and seeing what's happening in space very often in this show. It's very much contained within the ships.
No, but if you really think about it, I mean, for budget reasons, back in the 90s with Star Trek, there wasn't a ton of space battling. It was a lot of corridors.
Yeah.
And walking around Malibu in Southern California,
that's
alien planets, San Bernardino. You're like, I recognize that. That's where they filmed MASH. But no, it looks that the special effects look better in the beginning of the season, but I mean, I'm not going to get too hung up on it. I love
that's the trade-off for good storytelling.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
all for it. Like, I'd rather have video games. Yeah, exactly.
But how do they do it so well at The Expanse? Which a show that's got half the budget.
Talent is talent, man. Whether it's a guy designing a spaceship in a computer or an actor delivering whatever, a writer, whatever, talent is talent.
And there's old Star Trek guys involved in that show, so that's why. Right.
Okay.
Comments in chat there. I wish I could read them.
I think there's one last one I want to do just to set you off on this rant. But David Foreman says, speaking of, can we all agree The Expanse is the best sci-fi show that exists? I love Trek, but damn, The Expanse is my new crack. Not that I had an old crack. Blah, ... Gary, The Expanse. Let's give an advertise, because we're going to be covering that when it comes back in theoretically April.
Supposedly going to get it back in April, and I don't want to. I get a little mushy on a Star Trek video, but I love this show, and it was billed as like Game of Thrones in space. I'm like, whatever, and I went and watched it, and it kind of was. And it's written by two guys who are kind of proteges of George R. R. Martin. I love the freaking books, but the first series was so good that I went, and it was kind of like Game of Thrones. I saw the show, went, God damn, and just burned through the books. And the books were good too. And they're good separately. The show is definitely different. The people are prettier in the show. And that's fine with me. And it was great. Now, you had Miller in season 1. So that's why it's so superior. It's how they've gone post Miller. And it looks like they're still going to hold that up. But I love Miller. And if you haven't seen it, without spoiling, I mean, go and watch The Expanse. That's a treat yourself. You will enjoy the hell out of it. If you like Star Trek, you will love The Expanse. So there you go. That's my commercial. And it's on Sci-Fi. And hopefully it is coming back soon. They just wrapped filming in December. So probably like 3 or 4 months. So April. And we will be covering it for sure.
So what does the next week of podcasts for us look like, Gary?
Oh, crazy. Because I'm traveling, but I'm still going to podcast. So tomorrow night, we've got The Alienist, which looks very cool. And it's from Anonymous Content, which is my favorite production company right now. Tuesday, we're taking the day off. Wednesday, we've got Happy and the X-Files. We got hopefully a very cool announcement about Happy, but you'll have to watch Happy to hear about that. We got contacted by somebody today, and that's like very cool. Skipping Thursday, Friday, we got Friday Night Live, where everybody can come in and talk to us, and you guide the podcast. And then Saturday, we have Counterpart, which is a show Dennis discovered, which I love. And we just did the first one. Please check it out on our channel. Check out the show first. It's really good. J.K. Simmons. Parallel Worlds spy drama. Really cool. That sounds so cool. Oh, it's very cool. I love mixed genres. I do. So and then we're back to Star Trek on Sunday. Very busy week. And even for looking further down the road, I'll be launching a D&D Dungeons and Dragons game, basically a game show that we'll be playing D&D with some other podcasters. We're going to be launching that in February. Our last tech rehearsal that we do privately is happening this Thursday. So very excited. I'm so excited that this show is what it is now. And I can't wait to come back next week and hang out with my 106 favorite people and talk about Star Trek. So thanks everyone for who joined us live. If you didn't join us live,
and you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the little subscribe button and the little bell. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdrotic and yeah, I'm Jon Reed on Twitter. I'm at Jon Reed 16. That's JONREED 16. Gary manages the official Nerdrotic Twitter feed. It's at Nerdrotics. That's plural. And yeah, can't wait for next week.
Oh, sorry, I was reading the chat. I can't wait either. I'm just blown away by so many people in the chat. Okay. I wish I could read them all. I'm sorry, everybody, but I have been.
Join us on the live Friday night shows, and we'll make sure to get to all of you guys.
And if you felt like I didn't get to something, please copy and paste it over in our comments. I wish this thing like rolled over, but it doesn't. A Dark Matter got canceled. Bummer. I didn't know that. Yeah, you guys should be watching Happy. It is a wonderful, wonderful show. And Langley, sorry, man. Yeah, find a way to see Counterpart. Yeah, I know it's a bummer. It's on Stars right now, and there's so much weird stuff going on with Stars with this merger. I hope the Discovery doesn't come back to the Prime Universe. All information over to Discovery and Spore BS Drive in the Prime Universe should be classified. Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're going to do. And that would be a great way to, kind of do this alternate trek without messing with the canon. You can always mess with it a little bit, but not like this was drastic. So if they course correct by the end, I'll, feel stupid for a second for bitching about it so much. And then I'll get over it and be happy they didn't mess with the canon. So yeah, man. Well done, Star Trek. Well done.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, it's been a long journey for me to say that, but this is why you stick with the show. And believe me, if it wasn't Star Trek, I would have been out a long time. But it's Star Trek. So yay, guys. And wow. Everybody, thank you for watching. I wouldn't want to go on too long. You said all the Twitters and everything. So I'll just take us out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Bye. Have a good one.